After 5 years of dominance, the unthinkable has happened. Max Verstappen is no longer the man to beat, and Red Bull is no longer the place to be. With the 2026 regulations finally here, the grid has been flipped on its head, and the greatest driver of a generation is staring at a midfield car. The question isn't if Max will leave, it's which rival will secure the signature that changes F1 history forever. Is it Mercedes, McLaren, or a shock swap to sim racing? Let's dive in. The Red Bull racing dynasty is no longer the untouchable fortress it once was. For years, Verstappen's success was built on 3 pillars: Adrian Newey's genius, GP's engineering, and Max Verstappen's generational talent. As we stand here in 2026, 2 of those 3 pillars have collapsed. Newey is at Aston Martin, and as we recently discovered, GP is packing his bags for McLaren. This leaves Max Verstappen isolated in a team that is currently undergoing a massive technical identity crisis. The biggest red flag is the Red Bull powertrain's Ford project. For the first time in his career, Max is facing the reality of a self-built engine that has no historical data to back it up. Rumors from the dynos suggest that the combustion recovery and the 350 kilowatt super clipping targets are falling behind the benchmarks set by Mercedes and Ferrari. Max is a driver who demands perfection, and he has zero interest in spending the peak of his career helping a team debug a struggling engine. If the 2026 Red Bull car is even a tenth off the pace because of the power unit, Max has every reason to trigger his exit clauses. He has seen the exodus of top-tier talent like Rob Marshall and Will Courtney to McLaren. He knows that the institutional knowledge that made Red Bull a juggernaut is being sold off to the highest bidder. At this stage, staying at Red Bull is no longer the safe bet. It is the biggest gamble of his life. The internal politics have also taken a toll. Without the stabilizing presence of Jonathan Wheatley and the technical oversight of Newey, the team feels more like a corporate battlefield than a racing outfit. Max has always said he stays for the people, but when those people are all wearing different colored shirts in the paddock, the loyalty begins to fade. Red Bull is currently a team in transition, and history shows that when a dynasty begins to crumble, the superstar driver is usually the first one to find a life raft. Toto Wolff has been playing the long game for 3 years, and it might finally be about to pay off. Mercedes has been vocal about the fact that their 2026 power unit is a monster. Historically, whenever there is a massive change in engine regulations, Mercedes finds a way to move the goalposts. The whispers in the paddock suggest that their energy recovery systems and thermal efficiency are already miles ahead of the competition. For Max, the appeal of Mercedes is simple. It is the highest guarantee of a championship-winning engine. We know that Toto and Jos Verstappen have been in constant dialogue. The tension of 2021 has been replaced by a mutual goal of stopping the Red Bull Ford experiment from succeeding. Mercedes offers Max a level of corporate stability and technical resource that no other team can match. But there is a catch. Joining Mercedes means stepping into a culture that is vastly different from the blunt, straightforward world of Red Bull. Max and GP had a marriage built on honesty and aggression. Could Max find that same rapport with a Mercedes engineer? Furthermore, Mercedes already has a rising star in Kimi Antonelli and a proven winner in George Russell. Bringing Max into that environment would create an absolute civil war within the garage. However, Toto Wolff has made it clear that he would move mountains to get Verstappen in a silver arrow. He views Max as the missing piece of the puzzle to return Mercedes to the top of the constructors' standings. If the Mercedes engine data is as strong as the leaks suggest, Max might decide that a few years of corporate PR is a small price to pay for a car that can deliver a 5th or 6th world title. The silver arrows are no longer just a fallback option. They are the most logical destination for a driver who values raw horsepower above all else. If you had suggested McLaren as a destination for Max 2 years ago, people would have laughed. But in 2026, McLaren is arguably the most attractive team on the entire grid. They have a stable leadership under Zak Brown and Andrea Stella, and they are currently the destination of choice for every departing Red Bull genius. By hiring Gianpiero Lambiase, McLaren has essentially laid out a red carpet for Max Verstappen. They have the man who knows exactly how Max wants his differential set up and how he wants his energy deployed. Rejoining GP at McLaren would allow Max to skip the transition period that usually kills a driver's momentum when they switch teams. He would be stepping into a car that is already winning races and a technical department that speaks his language. The friendship between Max and Lando Norris is also a massive factor. While we have seen that teammates can be rivals, Max and Lando have a level of mutual respect that could create the most formidable driver pairing in the history of the sport. McLaren also uses the Mercedes engine, which gives Max the best of both worlds. The power of the Mercedes PU without the high-pressure corporate environment of the Mercedes factory team. It is the MCLAREN Avengers project. They are collecting the best engineers, the best sporting directors, and the best technical directors. Adding Max Verstappen would be the final stone in the gauntlet. For Max, McLaren represents a fun racing environment that still possesses the professional clinical edge required to win. If he wants to keep his soul while still driving a rocket ship, the papaya suit is the most tempting option on the table. We cannot talk about Max Verstappen's future without discussing the possibility that he simply walks away. Max is not like Fernando Alonso or Lewis Hamilton. He does not need to be in F1 until he is 45 to feel fulfilled. He has been incredibly vocal about his dislike for the 2026 technical regs. He hates the weight of the cars, he hates the active aero gimmicks, and he hates the fact that the engines are becoming more about software management than raw driving talent. Max is a purist who wants to race GT3 cars, compete in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and run his own sim racing empire. He has already won everything there is to win. He has broken almost every record in the book. If the 2026 cars feel like heavy, sluggish computers, Max has the financial freedom and the lack of ego to simply say, "I am done." He has repeatedly told the media that he will not stay in F1 just to make up the numbers. He wants to have fun, and if the fun is gone, Max is gone. We could be looking at a scenario where he sees out his contract at Redbull, realizes the team is no longer the family he loved, and retires at the peak of his powers to pursue a career in endurance racing where he can actually drive real cars. The retirement option is the one the FIA fears the most, because losing the biggest star in the sport would be a massive blow to the 2026 commercial success. But for Max, peace of mind and the freedom to race what he wants, when he wants, might be more valuable than a fifth trophy. The F1 world is waiting for the first domino to fall, and that domino is Max Verstappen. Whether he stays to fight for the Red Bull Ford legacy, joins the Mercedes engine revolution, or reunites with GP at McLaren, the sport is about to enter its most chaotic era yet. But I want to hear from you. Where do you think Max will be in 2028? Is he heading for a papaya future, or is he heading for the exit door? Drop a comment below and tell me your wildest prediction. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest 2026 technical leaks and driver market drama. Peace.